All right. Hello, and welcome to Overthinking Games, a podcast about what video games can teach us. My name is Katie, and I'm a special education teacher. I'm skipping the cold open.
We need a cold open.
I'm skipping it. It's
No,
my episode.
That's bad. That's bad form.
It's not bad. No, because I'm going to start with the shout out. Don't judge me. I had a method. You messed up my groove. Okay. It's like the Emperor's New Groove. You threw off the Emperor's groove. There, are you happy? Now we've had a cold open.
Yeah, 100%.
Yes. Yeah. You okay, go on.
Okay. Anyway, this is Overthinking Games. My name is Katie. I'm a special education teacher and apparently a trailblazer in show formatting. I am joined by my two co-hosts, Dempsey. Say hi.
Hi, I'm Dempsey.
And Seth.
Hello. I'm sick.
He's Seth.
Not like sick. Well, yeah, I'm Seth and sick, but not like the religion. But I like a sinus infection.
That's Sikh, isn't it?
You might want to cut that part.
Oh no.
I'm not. I'm a science major.
Major, yeah. Major nerd.
Seth is a teacher. We need Seth. It's important for people to know Seth is not a science major. Seth is a science teacher.
I have a BS.
That changes the.
You're full of BS. Anyway, this week we are going to be talking about Okay, now I've lost my train of thought. We're going to have to cut that. Let me try that again. Our topic this week is going to be, should I be playing this game or that game? The commodification of time. What makes something a good investment of time versus a waste of time? And how do we make those kinds of judgments? And why are we making those kinds of judgments? But before we do that, I want to shout out Caitlin Katie on TikTok, where she made my whole week by knowing who I was and who our podcast was in the Gamers Drink TikTok stream. She was like, I love Overthinking Games podcast. And that just filled my heart with joy and gladness. So thank you so much for that, Caitlin Katie. You're awesome. It was nice talking to you. And we just appreciate all of our listeners out there. If you would like to make our whole day and week and year, you could send us an email and let us know what you think about things, or leave us a review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. We would really appreciate that because, we like to know that there's people out there hanging out with us. So thank you for that. And then before we get into our topic, we are going to talk about what we've been playing. Do you want to start us off, Dempsey?
Yeah, so I have been playing Unpacking IRL, which is not as good of a game as Unpacking the Switch edition. I moved cities across the state that I live in. I am, so my house is still a mess with boxes. I'm slowly unpacking. I got Wi-Fi a few days ago. You feel like a pioneer living in a house without Wi-Fi. I felt like I was a settler. It's not a good feeling. But I have played a few games. Imagine for a second, close your eyes. Imagine with me if Outer Wilds was a good game. That is what Animal Well is. If Animal Well is if Outer Wilds was like a good video game.
You say it's the best video game.
What?
Outer Wilds.
Yeah, I mean, it is the best video game ever made. But if it was a good video game, it would be like Animal Well. And
like some more elaboration.
No, I like leaving it at the sheer audacity of putting those two things next to each other.
So it has really good. Animal Well is, first of all, extraordinarily beautiful. It is so gorgeous of a game to play. I think if you have PlayStation Plus, you get it for free. Although Katie might not, because it might
PS5.
Yeah, because it might only be available for the PS5. It is a lot about exploration and discovery and trying things, and a lot of organic systems that work together in surprising ways that fill you with the joy of discovery. And it actually feels like a video game. Outer Wilds is not a video game. Outer Wilds is a philosophical meditation. But Animal Well is like an actual video game. I think Animal Well is really beautiful. And it's a great independent game. Well, I don't know if it's independent because it's published by Donkey, the YouTuber. Who?
Wow.
Do you know who Donkey is?
No.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Explain to the people who Donkey is.
Katie, you're the only person who doesn't know who Donkey is.
Our listeners might not know who Donkey is.
Our listeners know who Donkey is.
Donkey, he like makes, I guess, YouTube videos about video games with like a silly voice. I don't know if it's a silly voice or just his voice, or I find his voice silly.
Oh no. We're gonna get canceled.
Yeah, but anyways, and he created with his own money, I think, a video game publishing company, and they published a game that was not a meme game. I really expected Donkey's first video game to be like a goat simulator, something like that. But no, Animal Well is like a genuinely beautiful, like impactful experience of a video game. I am endlessly surprised with that game. Go play it if you can. And then I've also been playing Helldivers 2 with a friend. And that's a good game. It's really chaotic. It has some similar energies to like playing Call of Duty Zombies because it's like collaborative. It's a lot more fun to play because it's not competitive. Like I don't really have interest in like Warzone or Fortnite, but it's really like collaborative, and it's like genuinely collaborative as well. Like to get some of like the more challenging things, me and my friend had to be like, okay, you take this side, I'll take this side, or like, well, what's your loadout? And we're trying to synergize what our loadouts are. And it feels great. It's really chaotic, like just you're shooting and things like that. And there's a bunch of bugs, and it has like a really frantic energy at all times. It's very cinematic like that. Like it's really good. And it's so weird how it makes, like we were in but I remember I was on my last little bit of health and I was shooting like a bunch of bugs, and I was going to be eaten by bugs. And then at the last second, one of my teammates in like a mech suit came and exploded all the bugs and saved my life. And it was like one of the most like cinematic, like cathartic, cool moments I've ever had in a video game. It was like down to the wire, and the game's balanced to give you a lot of those moments, like a lot of where like your teammates will save your life, and it's balanced just right, and you're kind of always on the edge of being overwhelmed. It's crazy good, like so that way better than I thought it was going to be. Helldivers 2, not a hot take, but it's a really good video game. And then I also won my first round. No, not round, but I won my first playthrough in Balatro.
Congratulations.
Hey, congrats.
I'm pretty proud of that. So anyways, Katie, what have you been playing?
I've been playing a lot of Balatro as well. I'm on to I think I only have 4 decks left to get through on the first level. I've been busting through. I think I discovered something that was a game changer for me, and it was the fact that multipliers are better than pluses. The power of multiplication, people. But you must have pluses to multiply, because if you do 1.5 times 2, it's nothing. That's nothing.
Yes.
So you have to have both. And the math side of that took me an alarming amount of time to get a feel for, to understand what the balance of like chips and multiplier needed to be. But now I'm making it through, not every time, but almost every time. It only takes me probably 2 or 3 tries on a new deck, and I bust through. And I've done my first second level. Like I did is it called an ascension level, Seth?
No, they call them stakes.
Oh, stakes. Okay. So I've done the second stake on one deck so far. And I'm just loving it. I just really love it when I can listen to an audiobook and play it. And it's just very relaxing. And there's I turned up the speed to as fast as it goes. And it just does good things for my brain. when I get those big numbers going and those really good synergies, it feels really good and exciting. Especially if you're like, I have one hand left. If I play my cards just right, like this will be a 100,000 point hand and we'll be okay, you know? So I've been really enjoying it more than I was before. And I think a big part of that was understanding how the molt works and then also speeding it up because I was playing it on the slowest speed. It was awful.
I like how Balatro doesn't have like a narrative. Like Slay the Spire and even Balloon Tower Defense kind of has like a world that you enter. But like there is something so like pristine and nice about like just like wacky poker. Cause when you like listen to an audiobook or something like that, there's no like clashing of aesthetics or whatever. Like it's such a good blank slate to have complementary experiences with.
I agree. Yeah. It's nice. I was thinking that as well because a lot of other games, like even Hades, like I like to listen to a book while I play Hades, but then I have to pause it whenever I die so that I can hear the next part of the story. And so it is nice to have a game that is just straight mechanics and you don't have to worry about being invested in any kind of narrative. You don't need to know what's going on. There's nothing to know. Makes it very accessible on a weeknight. The other thing I've been playing is Warzone. I have 24 wins out of 30 and not enough time probably to get the other 6 I need to try to get the nuke this season. Thank you. Thank you, Dempsey. I really wanted to get the 30 wins. I don't think it's going to happen. I wanted to, and my team is really close. I think one of my friends has like 27 or 28, so he might get a chance to, but basically if you get 30 wins, you get to try and collect all of the pieces of this nuclear device. And everybody else, you're marked on the map, and everybody else is trying to stop you from getting the nuclear device. And like why we want the nuclear device, nobody knows. Why we're blowing it up, nobody knows. I don't care. I just want to do the thing that nobody else gets to do, and I don't want anyone to stop me. Basically, on my way to world domination. But maybe next season, because it'll be summertime and I'll have more time to get those wins in. But yeah.
I am endlessly fascinated that Call of Duty can be about such like real world military violence in like a very scary time in world history currently. And like people just keep going for that. I get like, I don't know. It just gives me weird vibes.
I mean, yeah. But we're running around in like literally my character's like my operator skin is called Cyber Cat. I'm a pink cat. I'm a pink robot cat. I can't take it too seriously.
Sure. I guess that makes sense.
There's like this new group of skins of Teletubbies. And so you've got these Teletubbies around. They're all like, mother effer, I'm gonna F you up, blah, 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 on Prox chat in their little Teletubby suits. And I'm like, the cognitive dissonance is alarming.
That's so interesting because that's not how I remember COD being. I remember COD being like a very serious experience, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it definitely was. But I think with Fortnite kind of coming to the fore and pulling in all of that pop culture stuff, like they had to do something to keep the kids, honestly, no matter how much they say it's, an 18 plus game.
Sure.
Yeah. Let's see, have I been playing anything else? I think that it's really only those 2 things. Oh, and Planet Zoo. I'm working my way through the scenarios on Planet Zoo because I finally was like, you know what? The scenarios are the tutorial, and there's a lot of really complex things I'd like to be able to do on this game. I'm going to play the tutorial. So I'm working my way through each of the scenarios, and I'm getting a lot better at like understanding placement and how to manage different things. So that's been fun. Tomorrow is my last day of school. So in celebration of that and in solidarity with good games being made by cool companies, I did buy Senua's Saga, Hellblade 2, by Ninja Theory, and I'm going to play that all weekend and probably nothing else. So I'm really super looking forward to that. I can't wait. I'm going to put my headphones in. I'm going to put Do Not Disturb on the door. I'm going to turn the lights off and close the curtains. And I'm going to play Senua's Saga in the dark all day. I can't wait. That's my reward for making it through the school year.
Good job.
Thanks. Seth, what have you been playing?
Jeez.
He's been dying of the plague.
I'm dying of something or another. A couple different games. I actually had to look back over my Steam library because I was like, what have I been playing this week? So, I was doing a Fallout New Vegas playthrough that I just finished up a few days ago. That was sort of inspired by watching some of the Fallout show and then being like, man, what if I just went and played Fallout instead? So, cue me spending like 2 hours. I think it was not this Tuesday, but the past Tuesday. I downloaded like 140 mods or something for New Vegas. There's a thing you can find on Reddit called like Viva New Vegas. It's just this like massive mod list for Fallout New Vegas that also has like step-by-step instructions for like download this from this link and this from this link, and then you have to go through this very specific order using these like proprietary mods and software that this guy wrote to like get everything to work together properly. But I mean, I had a New Vegas didn't crash, so like, hey, that's a big improvement over the base game.
Is this the one that you were playing with your girlfriend?
No, that's Fallout 4, which we are.
Oh, okay.
We're still kind of playing. She wanted to play The Sims, so I had to bring my PlayStation back to my place so my girlfriend doesn't have Wi-Fi at her place, because she just doesn't want to pay like the extra $50 a month for Wi-Fi or whatever it would be. So
wow,
that's wild.
That's pretty extreme.
Yeah,
that's wild. How does she watch things?
She has like unlimited data through her cell plan, so she doesn't have a smart TV anyway, so she just watches. She grew up watching like DVDs, so she just has like ton of DVDs at home.
Does she just watch things on her phone?
Yeah, she pretty much exclusively watches New Girl on her phone. So,
bro, that's what. Oh my god, no! Oh, that's not how.
The Zoomers are not okay.
Okay.
Listen,
whatever. That's not the recommended format for that art form.
Maybe for New Girl it is.
Maybe for New Girl.
I don't think she's particularly caring about media in that way. Don't tell her I said that. Anyway, so that's sort of. She wanted to play Sims, so we were playing Sims for a little bit. And then I was like, after I finished my New Vegas playthrough, I was like, hey, I want to play something on my PlayStation 5. I'm going to take my PlayStation 5 home. And then I haven't played anything on it yet, but I probably will.
The thought is there.
The thought is there.
Will be next.
Yeah, we'll see. After that, I played a little bit of this game called Mechabellum. It was popular like a couple months ago. It's a like mech auto battler. Sort of it's sort of like halfway between like an auto battler RTS, where like you would usually like build units, kind of like StarCraft or Command and Conquer, where you like build units and then you like send them off. This is like that, but an auto battler form, more akin to like Super Auto Pets or Teamfight Tactics. It's a fun game. It was on sale, so I got it for like $8 or something. The problem is the game isn't super active anymore. So if you want to play against other people as a new player, like even if you go into ranked queue, like you just are forced to play against like experienced players because there's not really like new players coming in to play against. So that was a little annoying. But it's fun for what it is. I was playing.
Your phone?
No, it's on the computer. I think it's probably on phone as well. But I played a little bit of Balatro. I have kind of gotten myself stuck on like the gold stake, like the topmost stake, and I just can't like get through it. And it gets to one of those points where you're just like nailing your head against the wall often enough that you're like, I'm kind of sick of doing this. And that's kind of like my last major achievement in the game. Like I've unlocked all of the other I've unlocked all of the Jokers except for one of the legendary ones, which is, of course, it's just like random chance. So I'm like, I kind of, not to say like I've done everything in the game, but I've kind of done everything that I care about aside from getting like that top level. So
Are you done with Balatro?
It feels like one of those games that's like very easy to come back to. And like if I really wanted to like grind out some more decks, I 100% could.
Mm-hmm.
And I still definitely do want to get like that top stake beat. I'll like play a run or two and then I'll be like, I'm good for a little while. That's sort of been my Balatro experience recently. Speaking of card games, been playing some Slay the Spire. I'm doing the same thing. I'm trying to get Ascension 20 with Defect now because I have Ascension 20 on Ironclad and Silent. And I'm stuck on like Ascension 15 with Defect. So occasionally I'll just like boot it up, do like a run or two that doesn't go anywhere, and then I'll be like, I'm good for Slay the Spire for now. I'm not going to bother with that too much. I played like an hour of Spelunky 2. How long did I play? I played 21 minutes. It's such an easy game for me to pick up and then play like 5 minutes of and be like, yeah, I'm good for this game for like the next 3 months. I don't know. I just want to play like one Spelunky run and then die super early and be like, yeah, I love this game. And then like put it back. Great game. Finally, I had to date our podcast. Today is May 25th in the year of our Lord 2024. Which coincidentally means...
May 23rd.
Did you say it's 2023?
No, it's May 23rd.
What did I say?
25th.
It's May 23rd in the year of our Lord 2024. It is the release date for the Paper Mario Thousand Year Door remake, of which I left work during my lunch break to go secure a physical copy because I was paranoid that they were going to run out. I think I've probably mentioned in the podcast before, but Paper Mario Thousand Year Door is absolutely like one of my favorite games of all time. I have an immense amount of childhood nostalgia for the game. And I guess like remake spoilers to some extent. But it is, Katie asked earlier, it is not a port. It is a proper remake. All the graphics have been redone. And it looks pretty good. There's, of course, there's certain aspects of it that I'm like, oh, that looks good. And I'm like, oh, that's a weird design change that they made. But there is a couple new inclusions in the game, which is exciting. Like, there's a guy that you can talk to that's essentially like, hey, here's like a little bit more in-depth details about all the game mechanics. And I was like, oh, cool, dude. And I think you might be able to fight him later. He just seems like he calls himself the Battle Master. And I'm like, you just seem like the kind of guy that's going to turn into like a secret boss fight down the line. They have like a little thing in the game that you can activate that lets you listen to all of the original soundtracks instead of all the redone soundtracks, which is something that I always appreciate for a remake, is being like, hey, if you just want to listen to the original music, like here's essentially a free item to do it. I think it cost me like 1 coin in the starting game shop, which you can access from like, essentially as soon as your character can move, you can go like walk and buy it. And there's a couple other like random quality of life features spread throughout the game. So I'm pretty happy with it so far. I think I've already lodged like 3 hours in it today, and I'm pretty much going to like play it until I fall asleep tonight. I had one complaint. Oh, my only super minor complaint about the remake is the game has a lot of puzzles in it. Like in the first chapter of the game, they have this like little quiz show that you have to do. You anticipate having this like mini boss encounter, and then suddenly they just it's just like a quiz show, and they just ask you like random trivia questions about like the past area of the game that you went through, and you have to be like, it's like, what was the name of the mayor in the town you just walked
like
past?
An observation game.
Yeah, and you have to be like, Croup. And he's like, ding, 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 correct. And you're like, oh, thank God.
I
do not pay attention.
I wouldn't have noticed.
Yeah, I do not pay attention to video games enough to ever be able to play that game.
And so the thing I was just the ever so slightest disappointed in is they didn't change any of the trivia questions from the original game release. So like I just knew all the answers. I've played this game through like 5 or 6 times.
You remembered them from when you were a kid. It's so cute.
I replay this game like once every like 3 years on emulator.
Oh,
so like
okay.
it hasn't been that long since I last answered the questions, but it's like I kind of wish they had just like tweaked the trivia questions, because it'd be no different if you've never played the game before, but it would kind of be like a little nod for the people who have played it before to be like, haha, got you. That would have been fun, but you know, like whatever. It's a minor complaint in the grand scheme of things. But I'm super excited to keep playing it. Again, one of my favorite games of all time. I've seen like teeny tiny little spoilers. I clicked on the subreddit because I was like, I wonder what the subreddit's talking about, and then I was like, get me out of here. Even though things are like, you know, it's one of those things where like it's spoiler tagged on the subreddit, but people are like obviously talking about spoilers. They're like, spoilers about the new secret boss. And you're like, shut the fuck up. Like, why would you say that?
Why did you need to say the words?
Right. You can't be like, spoiler. It's like, it'd be like spoilers for like Avengers Endgame and being like, spoilers about the dead Avengers. And you're like, shut up. It was the part I didn't want spoiled. I don't care who it is. It's the fact that it happens.
That's what happened to me with Detroit Become Human. I was like, I just wonder if, you know, if there
Don't
was any...
spoil it.
No, I'm not going to say. I'm not going to say. I just wonder if something could have happened a different way. And then I looked it up. Jesus, no. I think of the two of us, Dempsey, which one of us is more trustworthy about spoilers? It's me.
Okay.
But then you look and then you see something you wish you hadn't. So I understand.
For some context, me and Seth have a due date to finish Detroit Become Human by, and so we're both kind of committed to play that game.
Yeah,
I know. Well, I talked to Gamers Drink, and I was like, well, you and I can just do it because I don't know when they're going to play it, and I want to talk about it while it's still fresh in my mind, you know, and while it's not been too long for you. And he's like, oh yeah, that'd be cool. And then I told the guys what day we were doing, and they're like, yeah, we'll finish on time. I'm like, oh, you just needed a deadline, okay? Like, it's fine. So that'll be a really fun conversation. I'm excited for that.
Yeah, that would be fun.
Okay. Is that all of your things, Seth?
Oh, yeah, this was about me. Elden Ring comes out. The Elden Ring DLC comes out in like a month.
Oh, exciting.
But yeah, I'm just going to go MIA for probably like that weekend. So I'll let you guys know how it goes.
Ladies and gentlemen, why is it that we finally finish our tiresome and toilful, is that a word? Work week, where we've been doing all of the adulting all week long. Then it's time to sit down at the game, and you start to feel like I should be doing something else with my free time. Like either the game that I'm playing is not like is a waste of time. I should be playing a different game. I've got 1,000 games literally in my library now because I've got my brother's library too. I've got 1,000 games in my library. I play the same 2 games every day. I should be playing something different, or I should be doing something different with my free time. And I'm plagued with that. Like, should comes into my self-talk an awful lot. I should be doing this. I should be doing that. And I was just started thinking about it. And I was like, why should my free time be dedicated in a certain way? And so I kind of just wanted to talk about like what makes a game a good investment of time versus a waste of time. Or like what makes the use of our leisure time a good use of time versus a waste of time. It's kind of what I wanted to talk about. So for you guys, I'm curious, what makes a game worth your time versus a waste of time?
I think broadly speaking, this is one of those things that doesn't concern me a ton, mainly because as long as I'm having fun, it doesn't bother me. Where this has often come up in my life is other sorts of media. Like, I have gotten myself down in the dumps before by like realizing how much YouTube I watch and then being like, holy cow, I'm just doing this to kill time. Like, I don't get any sort of benefit out of it. And that benefit would be something like the ability to talk to other people about that experience. It's one of the reasons why I like a lot of my games often is I think I like a game better when I can actually sit and I can talk to somebody about that experience, especially if it's like a game that they also enjoy. Because then it's now no longer just like self-centered on me. It's like, hey, this is an experience we're sharing.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's often why like I enjoy playing something like Slay the Spire a lot more than, for example, Mechabellum. Like, Mechabellum is just this random game I found, and it's not as good as me, rather than like Slay the Spire, which I could always like send a message to you guys, be like, hey, I did this thing in Slay the Spire, and you guys would be like, oh, that's pretty cool.
Mm.
I was going to say, like, if I am having fun with the game, it's worth playing. But a lot of my favorite games I fucking hated to play. So, like, Outer Wilds, Nier Automata, whatever. There's games that I love with everything that's inside of me, but I did not enjoy the process of playing. So, I mean, I think that's an interesting question on like when I want to play a game and when I don't. I now can justify any game because I have a podcast to talk about it. So I I never really feel like I am wasting time. In fact, if I have not found time to play a video game that week, I will like stress out about it. I will be like, I should really make time to play something for the podcast. Yeah, I really never feel like any game that I am playing is a waste of time. Even if it's just like Balloon Tower Defense 6, like, and Slay the Spire and Balatro, and like games where I'm not like getting my typical Dempsey things out of them. Like some big, narrative or philosophical or aesthetic consideration, which I think is mainly what excites me about video games. But even if not, I'm not getting like my typical Dempsey things. I don't feel like I shouldn't be playing those games or like I should be playing something else if I want to play those games. So yeah, that's I don't know. That's kind of how I feel about that.
I feel like for me, like with the podcast for sure, I feel more pressure to play a greater variety of games because what I want to do is I want to play Warzone all weekend with my mom and my friends because it's so much fun. And when I play with people, then it's like you were talking about with Helldivers, it becomes part of a narrative. It becomes a little bit of an adventure story. You get to say, oh, we almost had that guy. You came around. I should have come up. Or, oh my God, you saved my life with that snipe. That was so cool. Or, oh my God, did you see that shot? I saved your life. Or crazy rezzing people and then getting the win. Like just those moments of community and teamwork, like you're talking about, Seth, where you can have that connection, makes the experience feel worthwhile to me because I'm using it as a vehicle for quality time with people that I care about and enjoy. But if I play solos on Warzone, suddenly I start to feel like I'm wasting my time because it's an endless game. It's free to play. You just go in and you play rounds. There's level progression, but it doesn't mean anything. I think I'm like level 650 or something. I've beaten the battle pass like within the first 2 weeks of the season. So there's nothing that I'm working towards. There's nothing that I'm really trying to achieve, and I'm not doing it with anybody. So then I start to feel like, oh man, I could be playing, Baldur's Gate. I could be playing Tunic or, all this myriad of other games that I have that I'm interested in, but I'm wasting my time playing Call of Duty. And I've been just trying to figure out like where that feeling comes from, because if I'm having fun, like what's the difference? But I think when you play like a story game and you play it all the way through, like you feel like you've achieved something. You've engaged with the story all the way through to the end. You've gained that narrative now or that experience, and you can say, yeah, I finished it. Whereas like with Warzone, there is no endpoint. And so then it feels like I'm just tossing my pennies into the well or something. Does that make sense?
Yeah, 100%.
But then I was thinking about like, why is time spent doing that less valuable than time spent experiencing a story or something? Or like Seth, to your point, like you play more mechanics-based games. When you run out of things to achieve, is that when it starts to feel like a waste of time, or is it just not fun anymore?
That's a good question. And I think for me, it usually just isn't fun anymore. And I think that's really because, like, one of the things that helps me, and one of the things I often enjoy about games is either, like, having some sort of challenge set for me or setting my own challenge and then, like, working towards that in some way. Like, for an example, I'm doing another playthrough of Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door. I've played through this game 5, 6, 7 times in my life. So one of my considerations going into it was like, hey, what am I going to do in this game differently this time to sort of like initiate my own challenge? Because without that, I've sort of already experienced, I think, the game in its base state. And so, like, I'm seeking a new experience within that game. And ultimately, I think this has, like, changed for me in my life. And I've noticed this as a change where, like, probably when I was in, like, middle school, high school, I was more interested in playing those, like, Call of Duty, or I used to play a lot of, like, Team Fortress 2, or like similar games that have a sort of, and I mean, even roguelites are still stemmed from this, kind of have that like infinite replayability. And I just have like kind of lost care for it over time, I think, in realizing that if the only thing that I really have to like improve at, or if really the only challenge is improving my mechanical skill at a game or improving my game sense or something, and that's not like a generalized, you know, a skill that's able to be generalized, I just don't really care that much. That said, will I still grind out like a ton of ascension levels in Slay the Spire? Absolutely, but part of the goal there is for me to be able to brag at the end and be like, yeah, I have Ascension 20 with all the Slay the Spire characters. And that doesn't really mean anything to a lot of people, but there's a select few people who are going to be like, hey, that's pretty sick.
Mm-hmm. Get that status from a bit.
Yeah, and it's kind of like why I did a level 1 run of Elden Ring. It's like the vast majority of people do not care, but there's a very tiny sliver of people who are like, that's insane. Why would you put yourself through that? And I think part of that challenge is what keeps it interesting for me and like keeps me coming back, versus like what's the similar challenge in Overwatch?
Mm-hmm. Where you're
Instead,
just grinding matches.
You're just grinding matches, and if like me playing a rune level 1 for Elden Ring is intentionally throwing, which is fine when it's a single player game and you're doing it for your own sake. But like if you're playing a team-based multiplayer game, I can't intentionally throw because I have 4 other teammates who are not intentionally throwing.
Mm-hmm. Right. Dempsey, you look like you had something.
Well, I think like the idea of getting better at a game is really interesting to me, because that's not something I value outside of the experience that I feel like is intended for me. Mm-hmm. So I really like ending games at the credits, because I feel like this was like the vision of the creator for his audience to engage with. And I experienced the challenge enough to make it to the end credits, and people who really, really love this game will go further. But like I have accomplished like the the vision of this thing. And so like skill progression outside of that very curated experience does not really interest me. I think that's changing for me a little bit. I think like Balatro and Slay the Spire and games like that, I still will go back to, but I don't really care if I get good at Balatro. Like, it's more something that is comforting that I don't have to engage with on like an emotional level, and I can pop a Veritasium video in the background, and that's my 20 minutes before I go to bed.
Right.
I don't want to get good at Balatro necessarily. It's just something for me to occupy my mind.
Like just a thing to do.
Yeah, kind of. It's a fidget, you know.
And see, that's a very different experience than like I have with a game like Balatro or Slay the Spire, where like that's a main screen game experience for me. Like if I'm going to play one of those games, I have to like focus on playing the game. Like I can't like play one of those games and then also have like a YouTube video on the side, because like I'm not going to be able to play the game. And that's not true for me all the time. There's plenty of games that like I play with like a video on the side, and but I think like those strategy games where I am focused on like trying to get better at the game, and I think that's just how I approach games. It's like, oh, like I'm gonna play this game and I like want to get better at it. That it's difficult for me to do that multitasking, which is frustrating at times, certainly. Because you're like, I just want to be able to like sit down and casually play some Slay the Spire, but I'm like, oh, I need to grind out the next 5 ascension levels for Defect.
So that actually brings me to my other thought. So like you're saying, you'd like to be able to just play it casually and listen to a book, but you want to catch those achievements. We've talked about achievement hunting before. So do you like feel like in order for a gaming session to be, I guess, good or fun, or to get the experience that you're looking for, like, does it have to be productive? Do you need to make progress or like move towards that goal in order for it to feel like it was a good use of your time?
No, I would say not necessarily. When I am playing a very challenging game, like most recently Another Crab's Treasure, however, I figured out that if you just listen to the NPCs and do the game in order, it's actually not that challenging. But I was doing like a boss. I was like 10 levels under. I was like 10. I basically did the end. I did like the end content. Like the thing I was supposed to do last, I did first. And I was like, wow, this is a really challenging game. And then I did everything else. And I was like, Jesus Christ, this game is so easy. So so when I think about Another Crab's Treasure or Elden Ring or God of War, which are games that I would get stuck on a boss over multiple nights, art in general for me is meant to feel connection. And if I am playing a game for the intention of connecting with the creator or the developer's vision, I still feel like I'm interfacing with that vision. Like when I get stuck on the fucking fire giant for 4 months, I am still interfacing with the experience that Hideo Miyazaki, what's his last name? Yeah, that he wants me to have, and his like masochistic, kinky fantasy of dying in a poison swamp. Like I am still connecting with his development team as like a person and getting to experience that vision. And so as long as I feel like I am connecting artistically and connecting like with the other humans that made that game, that's what I want. And that's what I get a lot out of video games. So no, even if I get stuck on a boss or whatever, I still love the experience of doing the same thing over and over again, if that's what the intended, if that's what makes me feel connected to the creators.
Okay.
I don't think I think that deeply about my gaming experiences.
You're on overthinking games, Seth.
I know.
It's in the name.
And this is something I've definitely mentioned before, where like the times that I get frustrated at games is when I feel like I'm hitting a wall that is preventing me from getting to more of the game. And this happens in the FromSoft games where you're like, I'm stuck on this damn boss. And it's frustrating because I know the only barrier is myself.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's some like either mental barrier or there's something like I'm not realizing in the fight, or there's some like side tactic that you're supposed to kind of like figure out that I just like haven't realized yet. That just makes it like 75% easier to get through this. And when I don't realize those things, but I know that's a problem.
Mm-hmm.
And like I've played a lot of the FromSoft games. This usually happens after I die to something like 10 times. I sort of get under the realization that like I think I'm just missing something. And that's frustrating to me, and that's when I feel like I'm just wasting my time.
Mm-hmm.
Because like I'm sitting here just fighting this boss like 10 plus 15, 20 plus times, and I'm like, man, there's a whole rest of the game that I would rather be doing right now. But in order to access the rest of that game, I'm like gated behind doing this fight.
Mm-hmm.
So like I just have to grind my teeth against it. But I think the last time we talked about this, I mentioned that I think just like the reward system in my head is messed up. Because like once I beat that boss, that's not like a satisfying experience for me. That's just like, holy shit, I get to play the rest of the game now.
Mm.
Like it's not cathartic in any way. It's just like, thank God, get me out of here. So make of that what you will.
That makes sense. Yeah, I get that. I think that's why there's a certain point in like puzzle games where I'm just like, you know what? No, I have a finite number of hours on this earth. I'm gonna look it up. I don't know how to get past this part.
Yes. 100%.
And I would absolutely rather look it up and cheat and move on than get to a point where I'm like, okay, this is no longer worth my time. I'm bounce off and never complete the experience. But I think something that I struggle with across kind of all areas of my leisure time is feeling like it needs to be productive. So several years ago, I started baking, and I really love baking. I started making lots of like really fancy cakes and different things. And then baking wasn't enough. They're like, oh, those are so cute. That's so good. You should sell. So then all of a sudden my hobby turns into a side gig, and I've commodified my hobby and it becomes another job. And I'll be like, with writing, I like to write, but if it's not writing for a like feasible novel, it's just writing little blurbs that don't go anywhere. Well, what's the point? No one's ever going to read it, or it's never going to get to a finished state that could be published. So what's the point? And I think that that's where I get in trouble with gaming as well, because if I'm not playing something that I can eventually complete and say, oh yes, I have experienced that story and completed that, then it's like I'm wasting my time. And it drives me nuts.
I feel like I'm about to go like super Unabomber on us. Like, what's the line out of do you know the Industrial Revolution? Its consequences have been a disaster for the human race.
Mm-hmm.
Like our feeling that like we need to be productive with our time, and that like everything has to be like as efficient as possible.
Mm-hmm.
Because like the reality, right, is I think we like deep down know that it doesn't. Like who cares if I like blast an afternoon on playing some like obscure game nobody's ever heard of for the sheer satisfaction of like doing it.
Mm-hmm.
But like, because this comes up all the time, right? Everybody's like, oh, I've got a hobby that I enjoy doing, and other people are like, what if you commodify it? And your brain's like, yeah, we can make money off of this.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of being like, no, I don't want to make money off of this. I'm going to do it because it's fun to do.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that happened to me. Friend of, like, I play Warhammer. It requires painting miniatures. I don't particularly enjoy painting miniatures, but I do it because it's part of the hobby. And a friend of mine was like, hey, can you paint these miniatures for me? And I was like, I guess. And he was like, I'll pay you. And I was like, yeah, sure. And then like we pushed the due date, the deadline on those back like 3 times, like 6 months back. It took me to like paint those over when I was supposed to have them painted. Because I just like don't enjoy painting that much. And he like paid me a bunch of money to do it. And I was like, thanks, I guess.
Like, not worth it, actually.
Yeah, I mean, it just wasn't worth my time, despite the fact, because it was like a commodifying my hobby, and now I'm like, I just don't feel like doing any hobby stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think so. This is so interesting. It's something I am thinking about a lot now that I moved into a new city, and so I have to make friends, and hobbies are how I make friends. And one of my hobbies is also my career, and that is filmmaking. And like within that, because it is an industry as well as a hobby, like there is a lot of thinking and conversation about like, will you work for free? Or how much do you charge? Or what kind of projects do you take on if it's not commercially viable? And things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Like the productivity of how you spend your time in filmmaking is something, that a lot of the community thinks about. And I am so beyond that now. Like I get to filmmake for my full-time job, and I will do things for free. And if I'm not interested in it, you can't pay me enough to do it. It's kind of, and like I think, because I did successfully commodify my hobby, like I did that, and now I am really uninterested in doing that with any other hobby ever again. I think even like starting the podcast, I have no like monetary ambitions for this. I think it would be cool if we had like a Patreon, just so we can justify putting more time into it. Like I would love to do a bonus podcast where we talk about other things, or, have a community that watches a stream. And, like I like the idea of, but for me, it's all the social and connection elements. Like when I play a video game, it's if I feel like I am connected to the creators that I feel like it's worth my time. For example, if I play Fortnite, I do not feel like I am connected to the people who make Fortnite when I play Fortnite. Like, I just don't feel that personal connection. And I think some people do. And I think some people really internalize the logic of Fortnite and like can see the vision of, how this game is meant to be played. And it's not because Fortnite is shallow. It's just because that's not my disposition. But like with Helldivers too, I was like, oh, I get the humor, I get the frantic energy, I get how like by the skin of your teeth the survival is. Like I felt like I understood the vision that they wanted me to experience. Like I felt connected, even though I don't know their names, like their personal names. I still felt connected to the people that made Helldivers. And so it didn't feel like a waste of time, just because and it's the same thing with like writing. Well, okay, so having said that, like I am not interested in commodification, I am interested in connection with art. So a level that I think about a lot is that I will very not often do things that are for myself. Like writing as a form of expression that no one reads, for me, is a waste of time. Like if I am writing, even if it's on Wattpad or whatever, like as long as there's other people who are reading it, that is what makes it worth my time. But like the idea of doing things just for me, inconceivable. I do not exist. I am not worthy of any type of enjoyment just for me. I cannot imagine ever doing that. All these experiences are to facilitate connection. And if there's no connection I feel like is being facilitated, I immediately am disinterested.
Interesting. I think I understand that though, because it's the same way that I love to interact with games as a way of creating community, like playing games with people or playing the same game that someone else has played, like we're going to do with Detroit Become Human. That shared experience is really valuable. And I think I read this article that was really interesting, that was talking about how as a society, as a community of people that live together, like we used to have sort of mandatory community leisure time. And that would have been like Sundays or, a lot of the times focused around like religious observances, but that it built in this time for connection and also time for like quiet reflection that had no purpose except to serve as rest. And as we've gone through, like, as capitalism and all the things, that pursuit of that sort of time has fallen to the individual, and the time that we used to be given by society has been taken away, and now you have to find that in your own time. And what I find is that, like, I'm so jealous of my leisure time and my free time that I don't want to spend it on something that I don't feel is giving me a return on investment. But what happens then is that
ROI. Yeah, that's a good metric for your leisure time.
It is, because my leisure time is a commodity that is scarce, especially like during the school year. I feel like, okay, I've got this little bit of time to recharge before I have to go back out there and freaking do it again and keep the children alive and teach them and all of the things. But in the summertime, what I find is that I'm able, because I'm not expending so much of my mental and emotional energy on work and things like that, I'm able to then make more forays into that connection area and into like playing games that are more story heavy, or, spending time with friends that I don't see that often, and investing in that community, because it's not the only time I have to like sit alone in a dark room and just be quiet.
Sure.
I just think like human beings are not meant to be constantly working cogs in a machine, but that is the life that we kind of find ourselves being pushed into. And I just think that like my takeaway is sort of that I should play whatever is bringing me happiness to play, whatever is fun to play, whatever I'm interested in playing. And it's okay if it doesn't get me anywhere and if it doesn't get me anything, because it's okay to just do it for the sake of enjoying it. And that's something that I want to work towards, like actually believing and practicing and not just like thinking is probably true. Do you guys have any final thoughts or closing thoughts?
I think, yeah, like my answer might be different if I didn't have a podcast to talk about every single game I play on. Like, honestly, like, I think doing this has really fundamentally changed the way that I interact with video games, which I think is, I don't know, I think that's interesting.
That's really cool. I agree.
Yeah, I'm not totally sure. I mean, I like sort of what's bouncing around my head is I kind of like opened up with the same idea. Like, I think there's some aspect of like what I find valuable for my free time is like, hey, does this build community? But that can't always be the case. And like sometimes I do play games like just for me. And I guess that's because either I enjoy the challenge or, I feel like there's some other sense of self-worth I get out of things. But it is, and I don't even know if we really fully explored it today, but there are games that I play sometimes that's like, I'm not playing this because anybody else I know plays it. I'm not playing it because like somebody recommended it to me. I'm playing this game sheerly because it's in front of me and I feel like playing it. Now I don't know why I feel like playing it, but today we're gonna play some Splunky 2 or Mechabellum or like I have no reason to play Splunky 2. I have 100% Spelunky 2. I have nobody to talk to about Spelunky 2. Like, there's no community for me to engage with. There's no, like, challenge left for me in the game. I guess in theory, like, I hit all the challenges. I've done them before. I've proven to myself that I can do it. But every once in a while, I boot up the game and I play it for 20 minutes. And I'm like, okay, I'm good. And that's like a satisfying game experience. It's not like I'm bored, I play it, I finish because I'm still bored. It's like I play it for 20 minutes, I feel satisfied. I'm done. So I think there's still some unexplored aspect of this that we need to return to later, but I don't know what that is. I have to think about it.
One of the things that I was thinking about of like doing things for yourself that are just for you, I do not do that very often, like at all. Like I was even thinking about like the kind of like books I read or listen to. And right now I am listening to a book about the death of the universe, and it's by Katie Mack. And I am listening to it because I want to strengthen a parasocial relationship, because the author is doing a podcast with someone that I have a like parasocial relationship with. And so like, even though it's a book that I enjoy, I'm not reading it just because I enjoy it. I'm reading it to strengthen what I perceive to be a parasocial relationship, which I think is crazy. Like that's a very strange thing for me to do.
That's interesting. Were you aware that that's why you're reading it, or did it just come to you that that's why you're reading it?
I think it just came to me.
Oh, that's interesting.
I am, yeah, because so the author, Dr. Katie Mack, is currently doing a podcast with John Green, who like, you know, the Nerdfighteria community or whatever. So that's a parasocial relationship that I am in. And then I am reading that book so I can interact with that group better. And so, yeah, even like my reading choices and things like that yeah. And then like, yeah, that's so, yeah, like doing things just for yourself. I don't think I do that very much at all.
Do you think
that's so interesting?
Do you think that that's like, I feel like so much of that is like social media and like feeling like you always have to have something to present sort of to the world, like, oh, I've done this or something. So you'd be like, yes, I can talk to John Green about this because I've read this book. Like I can leave an informed comment that he will see and think well of me for it.
100%. Because so like I watched, for example, the Turtles All the Way Down movie. Mm-hmm. But I didn't just watch it, I post about watching it. Mm-hmm. So that way I can signal my identity to those around me. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Which is, yeah.
I run into that when I'm playing, like, sometimes if I'm playing solos on Warzone, I'll stream it. And I'm like, why am I streaming this? Because I'm playing by myself and I don't want to play by myself. I want to share the experience with somebody else and somebody else to see me get that sick kill. And, you know, like constantly just be validated for my use of my time and choices, you know?
Yeah. That's definitely how I feel. Cause like, it's weird, but like that watching that movie felt like more productive. Like watching the Turtles All the Way Down movie felt somehow productive versus watching like another movie, mm-hmm. Which is an insane thing to like think about. And
right.
say.
Like if you watched a movie you've seen 1 million times, that feels like a waste of time compared to consuming something new. Yeah, for sure. And I just had a thought and it just flitted away from me. Never mind. Dang it.
Yeah, but I also, my flip side of this is I don't get people who can do the opposite, which is like, oh yeah, like I'm watching The Office for like the 7th time. And I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Like, how do you do that? Like, but also like if I also crazy. If I listen to a song on like Spotify, like I'm happy that I've listened to that song and I don't need to listen to it again for like another month.
Even if you really like it?
No, just like music in general. Like I'll listen to Spotify and I'll listen to my playlist and then I'll be like, oh cool, like I don't need to listen to music again for like another month.
Oh, I remembered. So it's on that same
I'm the crazy one, but that's fine.
I think that there's like a certain amount of like brain space every day. And I mean, unfortunately, like a lot of that brain space gets taken up by our other obligations in life, whether that's work, relationships that are important to us, whatever kind of regular things you have to do just to keep your life functioning. And sometimes by the time you get to the end of the day, I don't have it in me to do something productive. I don't have it in me to consume something new or work towards, a in-depth story game. And I think it should be okay to just play Balatro and listen to Murderbot for the 6th time, which I am doing right now. And just be okay with the fact that you're doing this thing that is repetitive and comforting and simple because that's where you're at that day, and not feeling like, but now I'm on my free time, I should be bettering myself or pursuing things, like always in pursuit of something. Like just being okay with being where you're at, doing what you feel like doing, what you have the capacity to do, and not like judging yourself for it. Yeah. Mic drop. Yeah. I always feel like we get to the end of the episode and I'm like, now I know what we're talking about. But on that note, this has been Overthinking Games, a podcast about what video games can teach us. Thank you so much for joining us this week. If you are enjoying the show, please go ahead and leave us a review. Tell your friends about us, and check us out on TikTok under the same name, and we will catch you next week. Thanks.
And email us if you have any thoughts about the topic.
And email us that too. Okay. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.